Hello and welcome to Quilt Addicts Anonymous. I'm Stephanie Sebi. Today we're going to be doing a quilting play-by-play to show you how I quilted our latest Stashin with Stephanie design, Fly Away. It uses Bookish by Sharon Holland for art gallery fabrics. So we do, at the time that I'm filming this, have quilt kits available. So you can grab that or you can join the club. If you join the club, you get 25% off all of the fabric that we include in the club, and this is brand new quilt shop quality cotton that you wouldn't otherwise be able to get a discount on. But if you're going to be a frequent flyer with us, we're going to treat you right. And then also we send you back order bundles every month. It's 10 coordinated back order bundles from one line, and that's for $29.99 a month plus shipping, so it's about 25% off. We design a pattern like this one today to use the fabric to its fullest potential. And then you also get access, you get the pattern for free, you get access to all of our previous patterns for free, and you get not one but two of my books, Fat Quarter Workshop and Fat Quarter Patchwork Quilts, for 30% off. So if you want to join, get all those good deals, and start getting monthly Fat Quarter bundle shipments, just head on over to our website, join Stashin with Stephanie, and then on your second checkout, it'll recognize that you're a member. You'll be able to get your free patterns and your special exclusive discounts. All right, so if you do join today, this fabric has already shipped out. So you're gonna wanna make sure to grab a kit, Fly Away, and then your first bundle will ship around November 20th if you order by the end of October. If you join in November, your first bundle won't ship until December 20th. So we get confusion about that every single month. People don't read the emails that we send them afterwards, telling them the shipping schedule very clearly. So I'm telling you here now in video, if you join November 1st or later, you will not get your bundle until December 20th. Back to the tutorial. So we do these quilting play-by-plays where we attach a GoPro to the long arm, and you can actually see me quilting as I'm quilting. And currently my computer is also attempting to upload the video tutorial for piecing this. So it kind of sounds like it's going to take off. So we're just going to have to deal with that noise as we go. But what I do is I kind of talk you through as I'm working on this. And I will tell you, this is the first time in the 4+ years that I've had my long arm that I wish I'd had a larger throat, so a deeper throat plate. So the throat is the distance you can quilt from top to bottom. So like here, we're starting all the way down, and then I'm able to come down to here and then go back up. So what I tried to do was follow the lines and go at 1-inch intervals and be even with the angles of this. And I had to roll every single inch on this because I quilt on a Lenni for APQS, which is fabulous for me. I'm 5'2". I don't really have control past my arm length. So that is perfect for me and my arm length in most circumstances. And like I said, this is the first time I wish I maybe had gone with something a little bit deeper, maybe a Lucy or something. So that way I would have had just a little bit more room and I wouldn't have had to roll as often, because that did definitely add to the time it took. But we're going to take a look, do a little quilting play-by-play here. So I did ruler work for this as well. So I thought I would actually bring my ruler base over so you guys can see what it looks like. So this is a ruler base. You can kind of see it here. What it does is it slides over your long arm. It sits, the long arm sits in between here, and you're going to want to get one that's specific to your machine model. Mine is made by Hartley. They make it for a lot of different machine models. What it does is your long arm is only going to fit right in here. That is not enough space if you want to do ruler work. Your ruler's going to be flopping every which way. But when you have this, and it's going to be hard to see because it's clear on clear, but you can see that now I can move this all over the place and I'm able to have a nice flat surface. Otherwise, this would just be rocking constantly. So if you want to start doing ruler work, you got to get yourself a ruler base, and then you can quilt and start doing ruler like we're going to do here today. All right, so for this one, I am using the Natalia Bonner 4-in-1 ruler. We don't sell these, but they're fabulous, and I recommend you check out her website. It's got a lot of different lines on it, so I can measure out to, I think it's about 3 inches or so, which is really great when you're doing straight line quilting like this. So what I want to do is quilt right down the center of this piece. So what I'm going to do here is line up the 1/2-inch mark along with that seam line. And as long as I keep that 1/2-inch mark on the seam line and the ruler foot in contact with it, I'm always going to stitch straight down the center of this, which is really, really fabulous. Now when I hit that sashing strip, I'm going to go to about the middle. You could mark it, but I've done it a lot, so I kind of just eyeball it. And then I'm going to change direction and go up the other side. I'm still lining up that 1/2-inch line with that one. Now, when I'm changing direction, so this is my second row here, these parts line up exactly when you go across, but they're offset just a smidge. So what that means is, even though I was on the 1/2 inch mark before, now I'm lining the edge of the ruler up with that seam line, and I'm only 1/4 inch away from it. And that took a little bit of figuring as I was working with it, and it might be a little much for somebody who's a beginner to be able to work with that. But we are going to have an easier straight line quilting video where we're just going straight across in a couple of weeks. So make sure you're liked and subscribed if this seems a little intimidating and you'd rather do something where we're just going straight across rather than changing directions. All right, so now I'm into my third row. So I'm back to the point where I am lining that 1/2 inch line up on that seam again and working my way across. And one thing you'll notice is, for the most part, I'm not quilting all the way to the edge of that ruler. So we've got our ruler here, and my sweet spot is going to be in about 1 inch on either side. So you can see here I'm starting about 1 inch in, and I'm not going all the way to the edge of that ruler. I'm stopping my needle and then moving it before I go any further. That's because if I get too far to the edge, then I'm going to lose my traction and my ability to keep that ruler still, and then I'm not going to have a straight line anymore. I'm going to have a wiggly line, which I don't want. All right, so let's just keep watching as I make my way across the rest of the row. All right, so typically when you have finished quilting a row and you're ready to advance your quilt, you're going to advance a significant amount, at least 12 inches or so. In this one, because like when I'm starting way up here and I stitch all the way down here, I'm only able to do one back and forth, and that is my entire throat space. So this is the first time since I purchased my long arm about 4 years ago that I wished I had one with a larger throat space. This is the only time I wanted more, because literally every single time I wanted to quilt another stitching line 1 inch lower, I had to go over and advance the quilt 1 inch only. So it definitely added a lot of time to the process, but it was, I think, totally worth it to have the results of the quilting mimicking the diagonal lines of the piecing. All right, so here I want to be 1 inch lower than my previous stitching line. So this is where all those extra lines come in handy, because I can line up the 2.5 inch mark with the bottom seam. So the bottom of that pink is where I'm focusing and lining things up with. And that's because I'm working from top to bottom. It certainly is easier to just quilt like here and then work your way up from the stitching line, but that just wasn't possible with the limited amount of throat space that I had. So I had to use the piecing as my guide when I was lining up the lines on my long arm with the stitching line. So again, when I transfer over into the next section, it's gonna look a little different. So instead of lining up with 2.5, I'm gonna be lining up with 2.25, because that is down just a little bit, not a whole lot, but just a little bit. But you're just going to see me working my way across, back and forth, and continually rolling back 1 inch. So the next one, if I'm lined up at 2.5 now, I'm going to line up at 1.5 and then 1/2 inch. And then we're going to start over again with going straight down that center. So it's not hard once you get the hang of it. It is kind of a little challenging when you're starting ruler work, getting used to always having that ruler foot in contact with the edge of your ruler. But once you know how to do that, you can quilt any shape you have a ruler for. So in this case, I'm doing nice straight lines that are perfectly 1 inch spaced apart. But I also could do the curved end, and I could have some fun with that. There's all different types of shapes out there. It is really just your imagination on how to use them that is your limit. So you really can have a lot of fun with this. I really like Rulerwork because I feel like it makes me look like a better quilter than I am. I certainly could have done this on my home sewing machine as well by stitching to the center and turning and coming out. It would have been a whole lot more time and a whole lot more manipulating of the quilt. It would have been hard on your body to keep turning and turning and turning it. So I was really pleased to be able to do this on the long arm once I learned how to do it and I got the right tools of the ruler foot to go on your machine to come into contact with the side of your ruler template, and then also that ruler base, and then you can really have a lot of fun with this. All right, let's just watch as I work my way across the quilt. You can see how I'm using those lines. They're kind of faint. That is the one thing that I don't love about this ruler, is that I wish that the lines were like a black and white dash, so that way they were easy to see like where you are at in terms of everything. But it is, I think, my go-to. This is like my ride or die ruler. I use it all the time. All right, well, I hope you've enjoyed that tutorial. I hope it intrigues you on Rulerwork. If you've tried it before, this is a fun way to sort of dress it up a little bit. It isn't fancy. We're just going up and down. It just, like I said, takes a little bit of extra time because depending on the size of your throat of your long arm, you might be rolling a whole lot like I was. So check it out. It's a lot of fun. And if this was intimidating, in a couple weeks, we're going to be doing one where we're just going straight across the quilt, doing 1-inch intervals with the Rulerwork. So that's going to be a lot easier. And that's a good place to start, a really good place to start, as you can get that really modern look of that straight line quilting, but you are getting the hang of measuring and paying attention to where your ruler foot is in conjunction to where your ruler is and holding everything steady. So I've been doing this for years, at least 4 years with Rulerwork. So it's a lot easier for me to do it now than it was when I started. If I would have done a tutorial 4 years ago, my hand wouldn't have been as steady. It wouldn't have been as good. So if you're just starting out, don't expect it to look as smooth as mine did. It was really a lot of fun though, and I really love the way it looks when it's all done. All right, so the pattern is called Fly Away. We do still have quilt kits over at shop.quiltaddictsanonymous.com. It uses Bookish from Sharon Holland for Art Gallery fabrics. If you join our Stashin with Stephanie Club, you'll get your first bundle in the month after you join. So if you join by the end of October, we'll ship you your first bundle around November 20th. If you join November 1st or later, then you'll get your first bundle December 20th. So make sure you're paying attention to that when you're wondering when you're getting it. But as soon as you join, our system will recognize that you are a member. So on your second purchase, you'll be able to get this pattern for free, Fly Away. You'll get 25% off this quilt kit. You'll get 25% off any additional fabric you like to buy. You get 25% off our fabric from last month, Grow by Pippa Shaw for Figo. And you also get 30% off my new books, and that is Fat Quarter Workshop, which is all fat quarter friendly patterns, and also Fat Quarter Patchwork Quilts, which just came out and it's doing pretty well. So we're pretty excited about that. I think we've shipped out over 500 books so far, and I've signed them all. I have signed so many books in the last week, but it's exciting. It's always fun when the new book comes out. All right, so check out Stashin with Stephanie. It's fun club, great discounts, new pattern every month. You don't have to do it. You certainly don't have to, but you certainly can. And our members, they get first dibs on the fabric too. So like they got 24 hours head start on everybody. So that way they were able to get the fabrics they didn't get in their bundle, and then the extra background and stashing needed to turn their bundle into a full quilt kit. That's totally optional, but if you want to do it, you do get 25% off anything you need in order to complete your quilt. All right, well, thank you so much for following along, and until next time, happy quilting.